what is actually going on at Liverpool? What is going on with Arne Slot and all of that? There are so many questions, losing back-to-back games and all of that. We'll talk about these. We're also going to talk about the match week 10 fixtures. So welcome to Pablo FC. We are home for all things football, Champions League, Europa League, if possible, Spanish La Liga and English Premier League. And today we're diving deep into match week 10 of the fixture leagues list. And it's a crucial week for some teams and all of that. We have crucial questions to ask, like can Sean Dyche end Man United's winning streak? Will Spurs lure Chelsea into trouble? I mean, will Unai Emery's team basically continue to cause Liverpool more trouble? Can Bournemouth capitalize on Man City's form? If Fulham, another question is if Fulham will end their winless streak against winless Wolves. And if facing Newcastle is a good opportunity for Nuno to get off the mark, as well as Arsenal pulling clear of the top, and then Sunderland with another 3 points in before their fixtures turn. And does Selhurst Park also offer Palace the chance to halt their decline, as well as Leeds, finishing gift with Brighton and getting a rare clean sheet. So first and foremost, I'm going to talk about the Man United or the Nottingham Forest versus Manchester United game, which is Sean Dyche's first match in charge as Nottingham Forest manager at home. So, like I said, the first game of the weekend, or the first game we're going to be looking at, is the Nottingham Forest versus Manchester United game. And that is Sean Dyche's first match as a Nottingham Forest manager at home after a 2-0 victory in the Europa League over Porto at the City Ground. So in the Premier League, that'll be their first Premier League game under Sean Dyche. It was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal way to start the job, and should not pay too much attention to what happened next. Now, Bournemouth away is one of the most difficult matches in the Premier League right now, made harder by a 3-day turnaround from Forest's last match. Dyche's Premier League home debut should be a return to something like a Porto performance, with the crowd well up for a battle with Manchester United, whom Forest have beaten in each of the last 3 league meetings. It's a huge match for Rúben Amorim too. Man United are on a 3-match winning streak in the Premier League, but an away game against a defense-first opposition represents a new challenge for the rejuvenated team. Now, United's last match with a similar tactical battle was at Brentford in late September, where Amorim's side were roundly beaten 3-1. Now, if United really have turned a corner, then this match would be a perfect place to prove that they've turned the corner with a confidence, assertive, and a match-winning performance against sticky opposition. Now, the second one is between Spurs and Chelsea, which we're going to review today. Happens on Saturday. Obviously, will Spurs lure Chelsea into a trouble or into a trap? Tottenham Spurs have the best away record in Premier League, 13 points from 5 matches, and the 4th worst home record, 4 points from 4 matches, because Thomas Frank's teams prefer to be the reactive side, attacking quickly after absorbing pressure. Now, when asked to take the initiative, they can struggle, or at least that is the conclusion that has been drawn from all of this. Beginning with a draw in a season, when Spurs have beaten Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium, but drawn 1-1 at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers. But sitting third in the table, it's only a small problem, especially compared to Chelsea's. They have lost 3 of their last 5 Premier League matches, more than they had lost in the previous 16 combined. So, Enzo Maresca's concerns are tactically similar. As head coach who prefers slow possession football, Chelsea are finding it harder to break down low blocks, performing better when forced to speed up and embrace fast breaks, hence beating Liverpool but losing to Sunderland. That's why Spurs should be considered favourites here. Frank will happily, retreat a little while um, while gifting Maresca the territorial control he craves and therefore luring him into a trap where they can counterattack really fast. So my prediction for the Manchester United Forest versus Man United game is going to be a 3-0 win for Man United, considering that they are in form. And then for Spurs and Chelsea, it's going to be a 1-1 draw, hard-fought draw. And then obviously next one is going to be Unai Emery's Aston Villa going to Anfield, where where Liverpool have been woeful. The theme of Liverpool's season is alarmingly easy to pick out. I mean, more worrying still, head coach Arne Slot does not appear confident that he can fix the club's defensive issues anytime soon as Liverpool play Aston Villa at Anfield. Teams have, definitely found a playing style against us. That is what Arne Slot said. He said after a 3-2 defeat to Brentford, and he said we haven't found the answer. For a manager, which brings me to the question, like, what is going on with Liverpool? It was a match that yet again was defined by quick counterattacks that took advantage of Liverpool's brittle-looking midfield, getting caught ahead of play and a poor form across the back four. Liverpool's opponents have played 571 long passes against them in the Premier League this season, and the most any side have faced. And Slot's side have conceded 3 goals from the fast breaks, again more than anyone else. So Aston Villa have the tactical plan to further hurt the champions, as Unai Emery showed in the 1-0 victory over Manchester City last weekend. Now he will again deploy 2 number 10s in Morgan Rogers and one other coming in off the left wing to get behind a porous Liverpool midfield, and it is a strategy that has worked perfectly against Rodri-less City. Now from the position, we expect Rogers to play, Watkins in behind the defense on Konate's side. But also, let's not forget that there's Van Dijk's side where it is very porous as well. It isn't rocket science, but it seems nothing particularly complex is needed at the moment to beat Liverpool. So can Aston Villa capitalize, especially with Liverpool having a poor home form? My prediction is a 1-0 win for Aston Villa. Back-to-back wins for Villa. Next one is can Bournemouth capitalize on City's form? As Manchester City face Bournemouth at home at the Etihad, Bournemouth are already enjoying their best ever start to the Premier League season, winning 18 points from 9 matches. It's about 2 points per game to hit to sit second in the table. A win at the Etihad Stadium would probably have Andoni Iraola batting away questions about the title challenge. Indeed, a win definitely on the cards. It's definitely on the cards. Man City have lost 3 of their opening 9 matches for the first time since 2013-2014. So we have to think about it from that perspective. And what Villa, Spurs, and Brighton all have in common is a capacity to counterattack and counterattack at breakneck speed, following sinking pressures applied in the middle third. Now, Bournemouth are on the longest unbeaten run of any current Premier League side. If they extend it at the Etihad, they will surely be confirmed as a serious contender for the UEFA Champions League spots this season. Man City also have already lost back-to-back Premier League matches once this season, while Erling Haaland's blank at Villa Park could also signal a regression towards more human figures from him. However, it's still possible that what we are seeing from Bournemouth is a typical purple patch under Iraola that just happens to be at the start of a campaign rather than in the middle. Now, his team tend to have bursts of good form and bad, going 11 league matches unbeaten, 11 Premier League matches unbeaten at one point in 24-25 season, and 7 unbeaten in the middle at 23-24 season. So could it be that they're having their unbeaten streak at the beginning of the season? The challenge is to use the fast start as a springboard to more consistent form. Now with Semenyo in that team, I see this game having a high scoring 3-2 win for Manchester City. It could potentially be a draw. You never can tell, but 3-2. I don't know why I chose 3-2, but it is what it is. Now, the next one is, can Fulham end their losing streak against winless Wolves? Well, Wolves are in the worst. They are the worst team this season, even though they try so hard and they fight so hard to try to win. Now, this is Fulham's biggest match of the season so far. They're on a 4-match losing streak and just 3 points. Fulham versus Wolves at home, basically. Fulham is at home, Craven Cottage. They're just 3 points above relegation zone and in danger of falling away following a quiet summer window. I mean, they hardly signed any player. Naturally, a home game against winless Wolves is about as good a chance as they could ask at the end and to end their run and start moving back up the table. But Wolves will be thinking the same thing. Fulham haven't won any of their first 5 home Premier League home matches against sides starting a day in relegation zone after drawing 3 games and losing 2, which includes losing 4-1 to Wolves in November last season. Wolves are now 1 match short of failing to win in the opening 10 Premier League games for a second successive season, like they did last season when they sacked their manager and then Vitor Pereira came in and did some magic, and guess what? Wolves were up. They didn't relegate. Now that should help supporters feel a bit better after I feel a little better about the club's chances. Although if they cannot get a win at Craven Cottage, then they might start to panic. The next 3 league fixtures are against Chelsea, Crystal Palace, and Aston Villa. So they're going to get smashed. So it is one thing to think about it. It's another thing for Wolves to try to get a win. But my prediction for this one is a hard-fought 1-0 win for Fulham, because Fulham are at home. And then, which brings me to West Ham versus Newcastle. The question is this surprisingly a good opportunity for Nuno to get off the mark? On paper, Newcastle, buoyed by a dramatic late winner against Fulham, are not the ideal opponents for Nuno Espirito Santo to try and get his first win as West Ham head coach. The Hammers have made their worst ever start to the Premier League season after 9 matches, taking just 4 points. Taking just 4 points, and Nuno has been in charge for a not insignificant portion of that, losing 3 of their first 4 in charge, including the last 3 in a row. So we have to think about it from perspective of Nuno Espirito Santo desperately needing a win. But the fixtures haven't, been kind to him as well. If you think about it and make excuses for him, in a strange way that changes this weekend. Basically, Nuno Espirito Santo's main strategy when arriving at a new club is to simplify things, to compress space between the lines, and also get bodies behind the ball, and then give players easy to follow instructions to help them, gradually build confidence. This kind of defensive approach is more difficult to achieve when opponents are, fellow conservative teams like Brentford, Leeds, and Everton. So you have to think about it. But by contrast, Newcastle will take the game to West Ham, in turn allowing Nuno's tactical ideas to fall into place. In theory, at least, if we're going to think about it from that perspective. But then we have to think about it based on the fact that Nuno Espirito Santo could get his first win, and that could be against Newcastle. But considering the fact that Votamada seems to always score in every game that you see him, seems to be like a thing, it might be that game will end in a 1-1 draw, or potentially West Ham winning 2-1, seeing as they're home, just giving them the home advantage for Nuno Espirito Santo to get his first win. Then the next one is, can Arsenal pull clear of the top? Arsenal have won 23 of the last 24 Premier League matches against promoted sides, including 13 in a row, making this and their trip to Burnley this weekend a match, fans will, be confident that their side will win, especially with the way Burnley have been playing. Burnley scraped through a win over the weekend. We'll see how they fare against Arsenal at home with Scott Parker's side. Now it does feel as though this is Arsenal's big chance to build a lead ahead of steam and move further ahead over the next couple of months. If they can take advantage of their title rivals' issues, then they could open up a big enough gap to avoid the kind of tight race that so often favors the clubs with recent Championship winning experience. So a quick look at the table, we can see that Arsenal are top table 22 points, Bournemouth are closely following them with 18 points. Spurs are behind with 17. Sunderland are fourth with 17. And Man City are fifth in the Europa League spot with 16. And then Man United are sixth with 16 points, with the same level on points with Manchester City. Now, Liverpool's 2019-20 Leicester City, Liverpool 2019-20, Leicester 15-16, and Chelsea 2004-5 all overcame their decades-long period without the league title by avoiding their nerves of a close title race altogether. That might be what Mikel Arteta needs to take this final step, with Liverpool and Man City facing tough opponents in Villa and Bournemouth respectively. Saturday could actually be the moment the Gunners begin to pull away. So we'll look at that. And my prediction for that game, Burnley versus Arsenal, is going to be a 2-0 win routine. And yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Then Sunderland versus Everton, two tough teams. Can Sunderland get another 3 points before their fixtures turn? Sunderland's brilliant start to the season could certainly continue at home at Everton, who have won just one of their last 6 matches and traveled to the Stadium of Light at a particularly low ebb. Obviously, they lost the last game and all of that. So, Sunderland faces Everton in the late game on Saturday, on Monday, basically. This follows a pattern. Sunderland have had kind fixtures so far this season, and while that does not take anything away from the outstanding points record, it does also suggest that their fortunes might soon change. Indeed, after this weekend, Sunderland's matches start to get a lot harder. Their next five matches are against Arsenal at home, Fulham away, Bournemouth at home, Liverpool away, and Man City away. Given their performance so far, Regis Lebris's side may well rise to the occasion, but also a regression to the mean is likely to come at some point. So what my prediction would be for the Sunderland versus Everton game will be a 1-1 draw. Everton will claw themselves back and stuff. Then the next one is Crystal Palace versus Brentford. Is this a turn? Is this a return to winning ways for Crystal Palace after they beat Liverpool in the EFL Cup to knock them out? Does it offer Palace a chance to halt the decline that they've been going through for some time now? And you can see that some of the players are already even tired as well. After a phenomenal start to the season, it's beginning to look as though Palace are about to fade a little. You know, they are winless in their last. They play against an up-ball, high-ball playing team. They're winless in their last 3 Premier League matches, losing twice as many as the previous 19 combined. Going back further, they have won just 8 points from their last 6 matches. Return to Selhurst Park is a chance to put that right. Oliver Glasner's side are unbeaten in 10 Premier League matches at home, drawing 3-3 with high-flying Bournemouth most recently and beating Liverpool 2-1 before that. Now, Brentford are in brilliant form. They're in brilliant form. Their 5-0 win at Grimsby Town in the EFL Cup made it 4 wins from 5 in all competitions for Keith Andrews. And they will be stubborn opponents for Palace. My prediction for that one is going to be a 2-2 draw. Crystal Palace versus Brentford, because Brentford are a bit of a hard nut to crack. And which takes me to the last game of the weekend, which we'll talk about shortly. Leeds, try as much as possible to finish off Brighton and try to get a clean sheet. Now, if Brighton are to take a step forward under Fabian Hüttler, they need to start keeping more clean sheets. They have kept just 1 in their last 21 Premier League matches and 8 of their last 47 games under Hüttler, or 17% in the lowest ratio, which is the lowest ratio of any of the 4 head coaches to take charge of the Seagulls in Premier League. So Leeds might help them change that. Their conversion rate is about 7.7% and is the 3rd lowest in the division. And that has only gotten worse in October, when they have scored just 3 goals and converted 6% of their attempts. So they have also conceded 9 goals in their 4 away matches this season, averaging more than 2 concessions per game. And their only victory on the road was against bottom place Wolves. So Leeds going away to Brighton. It's going to be a 2-1 win for Brighton. Brighton come back to winning ways after losing in the weekend and losing in the EFL Cup. So that's it basically from the Premier League preview. Match day 10. We'll continue to review it afterwards. We'll do the review when the games are done, and then the things we'll learn from that. So let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section as we continue to build towards the impressive and interesting weekend of the Premier League match week 10. So let me know your thoughts and feelings, what are your predictions for each of the games. And then don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section. I'll see you on the next one. Take care, goodbye, and God bless.